What up? Today we're doing day 2 of Admin and Code. For some context on part 1, we're given a list of reports, and each report has a list of numbers called levels. So this would be a report consisting of 5 levels and so on. One report per line. Each report is a list of numbers called levels. Engineers are trying to figure out which reports are safe. The levels are a report only counts as safe if they're all increasing or all decreasing, or any two adjacent levels differ by at least 1 and at most 3. How many reports are safe? All right, so we're gonna say reports. We're gonna say reports equals list map int to line dot split for line in F. Just like that. I think that's what we're going to do. Yeah, and then let's print reports just to see what it looks like. Something wrong. Statements must be separated by new lines or semicolons. I'm gonna just try it. Python 3 to script. Oh, come up here. That's for that. Let's go to right here and go like that. Nice. So we have all our reports in a list. So now we can just say the num safe would be all the ones that have, let's see, num safe equals 0. For report, in reports, we're gonna look at each report, and then we're gonna see whether it's increasing or decreasing, and that it is all adjacent pairs are either 1 apart, or between 1 and 3 apart, right? It says it has to be at least 1 and at most 3. So increasing means that all of our num2 is greater than num1 for num1 and num2 in pairwise report. And decreasing would be almost the same thing, except we're going to replace this greater than with less than, and we're going to change this to a decreasing. And so if it's not increasing or it's not, so if it's not increasing or decreasing, then we're gonna skip it. Now we're gonna see if it satisfies the other constraint, which was that if all num2 minus num1 are, let's see, it says adjacent levels differ by at least 1 and at most 3. So we want to say if not all of them are differing by that amount. So let's go to right here. We can say absolute difference needs to either be equal to 1, greater than or equal to 1, or less than or equal to 3 for each adjacent number pair in each of the pairs in our report. So we're going to skip if it's not, and if it is, now we can just add it, right? We can say the hell just happened? Whatever. Report, just like that. Continue. And if it satisfied all this criteria, it's safe, and so we can add it, and then we can print the number that are safe. Just like that. And so let's do that right here. Let's make sure to get rid of this print right here so that we can actually read it. Okay, 321 is my first guess. Let's see how that goes. That's the right answer. Continue to part 2. Engineers are surprised. Let the reactor tolerate a single bad level. Same rules apply, except if removing a single level from an unsafe report would make it safe, the report instead counts as safe. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our old solution, and since each report is really small, we're going to just try removing every number. So we're going to say for I in range length of report. So we're going to keep tabs of our original report like this, and then we're going to say right here report equals the original up to the number which we're going to exclude plus the original with all the numbers after the one we're going to exclude. And we're going to take all this and make sure that we indent it as well, right? So we want to select all these, Shift I, tab, just like that. And one more thing, once we determine it's safe, we don't want to overcount, right? We only want to count it if it's possible once. So we're going to go like that. And one more thing as well is that we want to count the version, the original version, where we don't make any changes. So we're going to do it like that. 386 is my new estimate. That's the right answer. Yeah, that's day 2. All right, quick review of our solution. I cleaned up the code a bit so it's a bit easier to talk about. So let's look at what our input parsing does. We open up our input and get a file pointer to it, that's F. And then we iterate through each line in the file pointer and we apply this expression. So what this expression will do is it'll split it by white space. So that'll take all of the numbers in our report and separate them into individual pieces. And then we map the int function onto it. So we convert each of those pieces into a number. And then we convert the whole thing into a list, so that's easy to use in the following parts. So this will take each line, it'll split it, convert it into numbers, and collect it into a list. And then it'll collect all of those lists of numbers into one big list that I call reports. And then I pass it into part 1 and part 2. So for part 1, we simply check if it's increasing or decreasing, and that it has all of the ranges for the number pairs that it needs to. If it wasn't clear, pairwise is actually from Python's itertools. And what it does is it allows you to iterate through an iterable and get like the first and second element, and then the second and third element, and then the third and fourth element, and so on. So it allows you to easily analyze the pairs. And so we just count 1 every time we find a report that satisfies all of the constraints they gave us. And then for part 2, if the comment that I made about them being small wasn't clear, right, the solution wouldn't work very well if reports were thousands or hundreds of thousands of elements long. But since each report was only like a handful of elements, we could afford to reconstruct the entire report without the number pretty quickly. So we could just reuse our old solution basically, but use the old, use a reconstructed report and just try every single possible removal or not removing it at all, right? So if we have this last index right here, which is the entire length of the array, when we do this slicing, original will just end up being this slice will end up being the entire original report, and then this slice will be empty, right? And we'll just be doing what we did in part 1. Thanks for watching. If you want to solve LeetCode with me on the daily and see other people's solutions, come and join my Discord. I'll make sure to post my solutions on GitHub. And yeah, have a good one.
What up?